All right, and welcome everybody to the stream about the microbit. This is the MakeCode from Microbit show. We're here every day on the MakeCode channel. My name is Pelly. I work for the MakeCode team here at Microsoft. And today I'll be showing you how to use the log, the console log and log values into out of the microbit so that you can understand all the sensor values and so forth. All right. Let's get started. So if you're on the here on the microbit website, let's go ahead and just create a new application here. So I'm currently on the beta, but the beta will be released somewhere tomorrow. So it's coming very close. And what I want to do today is learn how to log values out of the microbit so that I can analyze the data and typically, for example, understand what the sensor is doing and so forth. So I'm going to start by the simplest way to get data out of the microbit, which is using the Plugbar graph block. Let me go and zoom in a bit. All right, so this block is this block renders a value on the screen. So it's, if you take the light level and you plop it in here, it'll just read the value and it'll show a graph on the screen. So if I do that, now change the height value, you see that actually, let's not do that. Let's do the acceleration. It's going to be easier to work with. All right, so it does try to show you how big how strong the value is. So it does it takes the absolute value. So if the value is negative, it still shows up and it renders it. Now it doesn't know the scale, the maximum value, so it kind of infers it from previous value. If you know the scale, so if you know that, for example, the maximum of the acceleration is 1023, then it can be smarter and it knows exactly how to scale these values. So that's what happens on the device. And if you download that to the microbit, which I'm doing it right now, you can see that it works really nicely. So this is really a great way to get a feedback on the magnitude of a value very quickly, very easily with one block. It does take over your screen, so once you use that, you can't just do show string or things like that. It just renders the screen. Cool. Now there's something that's happening with this one, which is really cool, is that it actually also sends the value to the serial port. So it sends the value goes through the cable, and then we're able to read that. So you can see that there's two, if you look at here, you'll see there's two buttons here. And this one is the simulator. So this one, the data comes from here. And this one is the device, the data comes from here. So you can see two types of graph. You can see fake data. And fake data meaning it's following the simulator. Or you can see real data, and real data coming from the hardware. And as you can see now, I'm able to visualize actual sensor data. And for example, what you can see is sensor data is sometimes a bit glitchy. It has noise into it, right? And this is something that you learn when using sensors, that you need to be careful. It's not as smooth as one would think. There's a lot of, but you can see that it works pretty well. In fact, if I let it fall on the side, it goes way beyond 1 because we measure more than 1G. So that's a very nice way to log one stream of data. And in this editor, what you can see also is that you've got here a way to download the data. And in this case, this will download it as an Excel spreadsheet, so you can use that in Excel or in Google Sheets, or you can download the raw data that came in. And this is the text that's coming in. We'll talk about that more later. So if I click here, it exports data, and you can see that there's now a file here that I can download. Okay, that's great. And you can see now that it's rescaled, so it's between 96 and 112. It's a bit tilted because of the battery pack, but as soon as I change the scale, you'll see that this was pretty much 0 compared to big changes. Okay, so that's pretty much how you're going to log data from the device. Now, how do I talk to the device directly through the browser? This is through web USB. And you know you're connected when you have this icon here. When you have the USB icon, that means you're connected. If you're not familiar with the web USB support, this has been greatly improved in the new version of the MakeCode editor. It allows you to download directly to the device and also get data out of the device. If you're wondering how to get that, there's plenty of help available, and there's a video available on how to do web USB. So very important, very cool, and also allows you to read the data from the device, which is very nice. Now, let's take a look at something more advanced where instead of just showing one value, you want to show more than value. Now, how do we do that? We can go to serial, and we can just use these values, serial write value, and so forth. So for example, I'm going to say acceleration y equals, so I'm going to log a second value, which is the y value. And maybe I write a third one, which is the z value. So I can have the 3D reading of the accelerometer. You can test this in the simulator. You'll see you have 3 charts. So in the simulator, you'll see you have 3 values, and you can move your microbit around, and you'll get all the values there. But you want to get it on the device, so go ahead and download this. So we're downloading. And now, this is only on the X side, but if I show the data, let me go on the other side. All right, so I'm tilting left and right, and that's the first chart. I'm tilting up and down. That's the purple chart here. And I'm tilting somewhere else, and that's my Z value. Now, if you look at how this is done by reading the output from the serial that's coming from the microbit and turning that into charts. Now, there's a few goodies hidden in there that I'm going to show you right now. If you want to have the lines on the same chart, just use a dot in the name, and we'll group them together. So I am going to send all 3 values in the same chart by using a.x, a.y, a.z. I can test that in my simulator and see that there's only 2 charts now with 3 values. Okay, so let's go and download that to the device. And you see that this is the Plugbar graph, so this is X. But now you can see here we have A, and A is the 3 lines together, which is very nice because it allows also to see the magnitude of these things. So if I have it vertical like this, my Y is dominant. Oh, we had a big shock. See, this is interesting. You wonder what the sensor is doing because I'm not moving. Yeah, 28,000. Looks like there's some parsing error. So what we're going to do is remove this and download again. Let's see, download. Good to see if we're downloading. Okay, and then now let's go back and see if this looks better. Okay, so if I'm all the way to the left, you can see that blue is down, around -1 G, and then if I go all the way to the right, it's up to +1 G. And if it's all the way vertical, you can see that the Y is positive and now the Y is negative. And this is the kind of data analysis we do to build the gestures. You know, when you build a shake or these kind of events, we deal with that. Okay, so that's a way for you to create the data. And again, if you click on download, you'll get all the data separated in all these sheets, and you'll be able to use that in Excel. So that's a very nifty way to log data and see data charts on the microbit. Now let's take a look at a more advanced scenario. I'm going to switch to a multi-editor scenario, and we're going to talk about remote loading. So let me open the logger here. So what I want to do is have 2 microbits. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do a 2 microbit scenario. One microbit is going to be on battery, it's going to collect data, and the other microbit is going to be connected to the computer and chart the data. All right, so I've got a logger. So this microbit is going to be my the microbit that sends the data, and then I'm going to do the plotter, which is the one that sends the data to MakeCode. Okay, so on this side, what we're going to do is go ahead and set a radio group, and then in a loop, we're going to send, instead of writing, we're going to send these things up. So just convert this code here, send 3 values, and Z. Y and Z. Okay, and we throw that. I'm just gonna drop in a little toggle, so I know it's doing something. This is very helpful. So that's gonna be my remote microbit. So I'm gonna unplug this one, and I'm gonna download my program here. So you can see it's not connected right now. Probably it doesn't know about this microbit. So we're gonna have to click that, click pair, and now it's paired. Now it's happy. And we're gonna go ahead and download again, if it actually wants us to pair. It seems that it's having some issues with this microbit. So we're gonna go the old way. If the microbit, let's try one more time. Yeah, something is up with this one. So we'll just flash it the good old way by drag and dropping it to the drive, and we'll investigate what's going on with this little microbit later on. So as soon as it's done copying, it's going to start blinking. You can see it's blinking. That means it's transferring data. And I have it on battery, so I'm just going to plug it and put that one on the side. Now let's work on the second program. And this one is the microbit that's connected to the computer. So I'm going to switch to the other program, which is my plotter, and it is going to use a radio group 1. And this one receives these, nope. This one is going to have a unreceived, and it's going to send those values to the serial. So we're going to take the name and take the value. And that's pretty much it. Again, just for a sanity check, I'm going to add a little toggle that tells me that I've received a message. So this microbit is sending data, and you can see this one is receiving it. I'm just going to put it on a different pin. And we can see that it's receiving it. Let's see if I can get that downloaded into the hardware. Compare the device. Yeah, something is up with it seems that maybe this one connected. This one is connected to the device, but I wanted this one. So I'm going to disconnect here, and I'm going to connect here. And it's really doesn't want to disconnect. So that's an interesting scenario for a dual. All right, let's save the plotter here. I guess this one took over. Unfortunately, the microbit. Let's see if I can win this round with my editors. It is connected here. Interesting. It has affinity. Okay. They don't wanna share. Okay, we're gonna be. So this is gonna be our left-hand side then, and we're gonna use. I think I should probably connect both to them, and we're gonna use this side too. They are a bit grumpy this morning. See if I can flash this one. So if the first LED shows up, that's my plotter. And second LED is this one. And it's downloading. So everybody's happy. And what we're seeing now is, yep, downloading. Full download. And when it's done downloading, it's going to start blinking. Yes. And you can see there is a show device here. So we are not, I am not going to move this one. I am moving, when I hold this, I'm moving this microbit. And of course, there's no battery on it. So let me plug in the battery. There we go. So now this battery is logging data via radio. It's sending it to this other microbit. And this microbit is sending the data inside of MakeCode. So this is a great scenario if you want to measure steps or things like that. You can basically, oh, there's some nice error messages coming in the stream. So this is a very nice setup as far as, you know, I don't know why I'm seeing dabbling overflow, but simplest setup ever to remote log data. You have one logger here and then one that does the radio, and I can show you both the programs here. So we've got, so that's what we did here. And you can actually code them together with the dappling. It's funny because we've got some, let me see. We've got some dappling overflow programs, so that's something I'm probably going to want to look at. Yeah, the dappling overflow, yeah, I don't know what's going on. We might just be banging too much at the serial port, and it can't handle it. So we might be sending too much data. It's an interesting bug that we'll have to take a look into. It doesn't seem to impact anything, though. We're pretty resilient to parsing the data. So we should be good. So that's today's video. It's kind of how to get started with logging and using logging in interesting ways to create data streams. And you can do that in MakeCode in the new editor very easily with the new editor. So there's a question in the chat whether the baud rate would help. We already had 115,000 bauds, already at the maximum baud rate. What would really help is to log a bit less data. So if I connect this again, now we don't have to for many time, if you're logging temperature, if you're logging like moisture in a plant, you probably want to log maybe every minute maximum. Let's see if I can. So I'm going to flash this one. And see, now it's happier. So we are basically just sending too much data down the pipe. So this is going to be very helpful. We'll see where we can build step counters, but also helpful to analyze data and figure out what the data looks like when you're not connected to a computer. And this is done very easily with 2 microbits setting the same group. And you can code all this stuff together in the MakeCode editor. Oh, cool. Minjini was saying timer suggestion, and that was in an arcade stream. So great to see that you were unblocked trying to build your game. All right, well, that's all for today. That is the stream. We're gonna wrap it up. So the stream is ended. I am out of coffee, and we'll be back for more adventures in Microbit land. So see you around. Make sure you follow us on Mixer, mixer.com/MakeCode, or follow our channel on YouTube to be notified of all the new cool videos. And until then, happy microbiting.